Hello there, welcome back to another review. Today we're going to be looking at The Seventh Curse, released by 88 Films quite recently. A lot of stars in this one, a lot of stars. We've got Maggie Cheung, Chow Yun-fat, Siu-ho, Siu-ho. We got quite a number of stars in this, and I'll be getting into this mad bonkers film today. If you've never seen this film, it's basically just Hong Kong movie making, done, what makes Hong Kong cinema. So I'd never actually seen this film before until this release, but I'll be getting into Seventh Curse today. What I liked about it: is it good? It is good. So I'll be doing the review of that today. So Chinese folklore, gore, Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's got Live and Let Die vibes, Evil Dead vibes. It's got a bit of Alien in there as well. So you're getting a real mishmash of everything. You got Chow Yun-fat with bazookas. You got everything. You got everything in this film. So already, before tell you now, go and check it out. It's really good. That's the end of the review, but we're getting into it a bit in depth now. Made in 1986. It's only about 80 minutes long, this film. It's a really short, to the point film. It's not one of these films where it's an epic, it's meant to be taken seriously. This is just 80 minutes of pure good kung fu. Well, not even kung fu, just horror, everything. Good fun. It's mad, bonkers, blood, winged demons, let's say bazookas, gore, off-the-wall action, fighting skeletons, you name it, it's in there. So as I mentioned, it stars Chow Yun-fat, and this was before sort of Better Tomorrow fame. He was sort of on the verge, on the cusp of becoming a big star. This was done before he sort of hit. He was still in films at this point, but this is sort of before Better Tomorrow, obviously, the seminal classic by John Woo. But this is before he sort of made it into the big time. Maggie Cheung, obviously, always amazing to see Maggie Cheung, from Police Story. I mean, this must have been done about, let's say, 86. That was a year after Police Story, so it's very sort of early on in her career. We've got Siu-ho on this as well, who many of you might remember from My Lucky Stars, Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Stars. Siu-ho, if you've never seen, he was in Mr. Vampire. He was in Tai-Chi Master with Jet Li. He was in Fist of Legend with Jet Li. So he's one of these people. He has been around. He's maybe not as obvious as some as his other contemporaries, but Siu-ho is really talented guy. Joyce Cadenzi as well even makes a cameo in this film at the end, who again just showing how much of a geek and nerd I am. Sammo Hung's wife. She makes a brief appearance at the end. And it's from the same director as Ricky-O, Story of Ricky, if you've ever seen that, which I will review at some point later on, but we're talking about Seventh Curse today. And it's inspired by, I believe it's the Dr. Yun and Wisey series of novels. I think that's what they're called. This is very much a late night movie to be enjoyed with a group of friends. Actually written by Wong Jing, who most famously directed films such as Naked Killer, City Hunter with Jackie Chan. There's a lot going on in this movie. There really is. It's one of the films that I don't even really want to sort of dissect it too much, because it just is what it is. Just go and check it out and just enjoy it. I remember when this first came out, when it came out in the UK in the mid to late 90s, I remember it come out on video. Hong Kong Classics released it, and for some reason I never picked it up. And they used to release the original Cantonese or the dub version. I always went for the Cantonese version, or the original language version, I should say. I was probably just trying to complete my Jackie Chan collection at the point. I was too busy buying Sammo Hung's, but for some reason I just never picked it up. I saw it countless amount of times, but it was just never one of them films that sort of grabbed me. Probably maybe my knowledge of, like I say, Kung Fu Hong Kong movie making was not as strong at the time, so I wasn't really sure what the film was or what it was about. The film is told all in flashback, which is quite an interesting idea already. It starts off with a hostage situation. And Maggie Cheung is like this reporter trying to get her big scoop, her big story. And she actually, although I love Maggie Cheung to pieces, her character in this can be a bit annoying, because she's constantly just sort of nagging or just getting in the way or whatever. But I mean that in a lovely way. But it's made a year after Police Story, as I say. Love Maggie Cheung, but Chow Yun-fat's more of a supporting role in this. He's not actually the lead, because if you see Chow Yun-fat, you think, okay, well, he must be the lead. He isn't. He's not really in the film that much, I would say. They just say it's so funny in the hostage situation though, because there's this hostage. They've got all these hostages in this building. The police are outside. Siu-ho's outside, and he's like, well, we're here, you're quite brave, you can go in and plant a flash bomb for us. Then Maggie Cheung knocks the bomb expert out with a brick to take her place when going in, and then after that, Dick Wee's doctor bursts in, telling them to stay away from sex as his blood curse is about to relapse. He was in the jungle looking. Chin Su-ho's character was in the jungle looking for this cure for AIDS, and comes across this like evil tribe. I mean, this is all like within the first 10 minutes. So I say there's this hostage situation. Chin Su-ho's there. Well, you go in. You're quite brave. Maggie Cheung's this reporter trying to get a big scoop. She like knocks out somebody with bricks, so disguise herself as somebody to go in with Chin Su-ho. So she's putting herself in danger just to get a story to go in where there's hostages and, you know, guns. I mean, I don't know. I've no idea what setting off a grenade, you know, is going to do when calming down some hostages. But, you know, whatever. It's all good. And like I said, then you see him chilling, and then Dick Wade turns up, most famously as like the villain in Project A. He plays like a witch doctor in this. He turns up and he's like, and Chin Su-ho's had this like curse because he was in the jungle, and he's like, his body starts sort of exploding, hence like the seventh curse, because it's like parts of his body just keep sort of rupturing and exploding with blood, and it's just mad. You know, even describing this film out loud is very sort of, what am I talking about? And then the film shifts gear from like a cop hostage situation, and then we are off into the jungles, and it becomes a cross between like zombie flesh eaters and the Evil Dead. It really does. You think it's just a modern day cop thing, and then suddenly we got things exploding. It's like zombie. It just turns into this live and let die sort of cross with zombie flesh eaters, cross with Evil Dead. And the film is never boring, never ever boring, never in a million years. The boring in this film do not exist in the same sentence. I still much prefer so like classic splatter creature features like this. If it was CGI, it would just ruin the whole effect of the film. It really would ruin. And like a film like this can only be made in Hong Kong, and can also only be made in the 80s. This is very much an 80s film. It just, you know, just real filmmakers having just so much fun, just really having so much fun with what is in front, you know, what they can do, and blood, gore, and just everything. And it just proves films don't need to be long. Just make 80 minutes of just pure non-stop crazy fun. You know, just ruin the magic and charm if it was all just CGI and green screens like it would be now. It's like I say, it's a Hong Kong movie in every sense of the word. And this is why I love it so much. It makes no sense. The premise is baffling as hell, but it's just good fun. It is just really good fun. I mean, there's this random moment when the sorcerer unleashes like this tadpole flying creature named Little Ghost, I think he calls it, that rips out throats and then bursts out of the victim's stomach. Chin Su-ho saves a sacrifice who was going to the like this old ancestor, they call him, to sort of like be sacrificed, and then this skeleton turns into like this winged demon. He gets cursed himself, Shin Su-ho, and then like I say, he has to go back after some time. He's gone back, and then it picks up sort of, he has to sort of reverse the curse that's been put upon him. As I say, I can't do this justice. You know, explaining it makes me sound like I'm absolutely crazy, but just check it out. What I find interesting with this film are a number of things, just how off the wall it is, and some of the effects and the creature and gore effects are really good, and some good body horror moments as well. Some really good body horror here. We have Shin Su-ho's leg exploding, like I said earlier. We have creatures coming out of stomachs, worms coming out of people. The old ancestor that is sort of like a skeleton, and it turns into this other creature a couple of times, and it turns into like this alien winged demon hybrid. I mean, it's a cross between, like, if you imagine like a cross between Alien and Rodan, then you're sort of getting a vibe for what it is. And it says on Wikipedia, which it's very true, that you know, this film is just, it's just fun. It's just really good fun. Some really cool scenes in this though. Like I say, I love For No Reason when these random monks appear on this sort of great big like Buddha statue that they're climbing, and Chin Su-ho and Dick Wei have to sort of fight them off. It's just it makes no sense. Like, these random monks just appear. They're climbing this thing to get these two things out of the eye sockets. These loads of random just Buddhist monks appear, and they just have a kung fu fight on top of this statue. Doesn't make no rhyme or reason, any sense, but you know, why not? And it's really weird talking about Dick Wei, however you want to say it. That it's really weird sometimes when he plays a good guy, because usually he's a villain, especially a lot of the Jackie Chans and the Sammo Hungs. So seeing him here playing a good guy, it's all, especially like a witch doctor as well. You know, it's like, what is going on? What is going on in this film? And there's a great scene as well where him and Siu-ho and they're like in this jeep, and they're sort of attacking the temple, going through the village, and it's great because they put the camera behind the two characters, and you really do feel part of the action. You do really feel in there. And now, one thing to point out, I swear Siu-ho's glasses don't have any frames in them in this movie. If you look closely, I couldn't see that he had any frames in them. Watching this in high def, obviously, I mean, he very well may do, but to me it looked like he didn't have any frames in them. Even really disturbing him, like there's even like, talking about like Live and Let Die and like the whole voodoo thing. There's really disturbing imagery in this as well. Like they've kidnapped these children, and there's like being sacrificed. Like Temple of Doom is quite dark in regards to like children and slavery and things like that. Here, it's implied that he's actually killing these children. They have like this vice, and he's sort of lowering these kids into it, and you sort of see them disappear, and then camera cuts to over this thing, and it's just full up with blood. They're implying they're just being crushed, like absolutely, and they're crying, and it's a bit of a disturbing moment. It only goes on for about 10 seconds, but it's a bit, it's a bit, a bit too dark. But this is not the kind of film, I will say, this is not the kind of film you should show your other half. If they were interested in like Hong Kong cinema and they've never seen like a Hong Kong movie before, because I think, it might put them off a little bit, because I say there's just it doesn't know what it wants to be, but at the same time it's exactly what it should be, if that makes sense. Like I say, I have no context at all about what the source material is and what it's based on. I know it is based on, like I say, the Wisely books or something around like that, what they're called. I think that's what they're called. But let's say it doesn't make any sense, but it just, who cares? Like I mentioned, when the film is this fun. And I swear that the guy in this, the Caucasian guy that is in it, when it's in flashbacks, because as I say, Siu-ho and his team, they were going to this tribe to sort of find a cure for cancer or AIDS or something like that. And I swear the Caucasian guy in this is the villain from Armour of God, Jackie Chan. I have no idea what his name is, but I'm pretty sure he is the main sort of villain of the cult in Armour of God. Maybe he just likes doing cult films, where there's cults, and maybe that's just his bag. I don't know. Although you can get the impression, like I say, they were making the script up as they went along. I know Wong Jing, let's say, wrote it, but you do get the impression it was sort of, a lot of it was just sort of winged and made up on the spot, and that, I think that adds to it. In places that I mentioned, the film, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It does not make a lot of sense, but who cares when, as I say, when it's just this much fun. So please go and check out The Seventh Curse if you haven't seen it already. This box set here by 88 Films is quite dear, it's quite expensive, but it's worth it. I mean, it's nice. When I think of releases that are coming from 88 Films, I never in a million years thought they would ever release something like Seventh Curse, and that's why I'm always keeping tabs on what Eureka are releasing and what 88 Films are releasing, because you never know, like, what they're going to release next. Like they just recently released the Tiger Cage trilogy. I never in a million years thought they'd ever release Tiger Cage 1 to 3. But anyway, check out Seventh Curse if you haven't seen it, and just watch some bonkers Hong Kong cinema.